much to learn. You still have.
Yes, Master.
Hey guys, welcome back. This is the third time I've tried to do this vlog because I'm not exactly sure what I want to say. Today I'm going to talk about the reason why I love Star Wars so much. If you've been watching my channel for any length of time at all, you probably already know that I became a Star Wars fan at the age of 3 when my dad rented one or more of the movies and we all sat down as a family and watched them. And I was instantly hooked, and my fandom only grew the older I got. You've probably heard me mention that one of the reasons I love Star Wars so much is the themes of family and forgiveness and friendship and all that other good stuff woven into the fabric of the movies. I've pretty much grown up with Star Wars. All you millennial kids don't remember this, but back in the day, before everybody had home video, there were these things called video stores, and that was one thing my family liked to do. Oftentimes we couldn't afford to buy a new video. Back then it was on VHS tape, these clunky old things. And whenever we went to the video store after I had seen Star Wars, that was the first movie I always went to. I had the sections memorized. I would run right around to the back to the either action adventure or science fiction section, look for the letter S, find the logo, and then pick it up. Before I could even read, I had learned to pick out Star Wars, and I remember begging my parents every single time we went to the movie store, please, 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 can we watch Star Wars? Even though it was my dad who introduced me to the fandom, I don't think he ever imagined that I'd be this into it. I've got more toys than my 12-year-old nephew. I've got 2 screen-accurate Rebel Legion-approved costumes that I wear to events. Now I've got over 1,000 subscribers watching me talk about what I love the most. And that part even blows me away. I couldn't have imagined it would grow this much. Some people think fans like me are crazy. They think we have no life. There's always this stereotypical image of the nerd living in their parents' basement, can't have a life, can't get a girlfriend or a boyfriend, they're destined to be single because they're just too much of a nerd. Well, a lot of people have broken those stereotypes. I've known several people who have met their spouses through Star Wars. The current person I am dating is a hardcore Star Wars fan. I guess trying to boil it down to one reason won't really cut it. There's a lot of reasons I love Star Wars. It's not just the story or the themes. It's about the memories I have associated with Star Wars. The only Star Wars movie I was able to see in the theater as a child was the special edition of The Empire Strikes Back that came out in 1997. At that point, I was 10 years old, and my favorite movie was Return of the Jedi. That was the one I wanted to see. But everyone voted for The Empire Strikes Back. I was outvoted. I didn't like The Empire Strikes Back at that point because I still had not gotten a strong grasp of the story. I mean, I knew Vader was Luke's father and Leia was his sister, but I hated seeing Luke lose his hand. Every time that part came along, I would duck down in my seat and go like this. Luke has always been my favorite character. We were outvoted, saw it on the big screen, and of course it made me fall even deeper in love with the movie. When I found out George Lucas is going to make more Star Wars movies, I went ballistic. I didn't really understand them, but seeing episodes 1, 2, and 3 in the theater with my family was a very special experience that I'll always remember. You may or may not have already heard this, but for us, there's always been a strong family connection with Star Wars. My dad was the one to introduce me to it, as I probably already told you, and I've turned out to be the biggest fan in the family until my nephew came along. My nephew was born in 2005. He was still in the oven when Revenge of the Sith came out, and several things happened with my sister that kind of mimicked what happened to Anakin and Padme, although nothing quite so drastic, as my sister is still alive. For several years I was unable to see my nephew. He was in foster care, being bounced around in the court system, and he was 5 years old before he finally came home. And one of the first things I remember introducing him to, even when we were just on visitation, he would come over and stay overnight when he was about 18 months old to 2 years old. I introduced him to Star Wars. I showed him the pictures, and he learned to really love it, and he got to be a really hardcore fan. He's even more of a hardcore fan than I am right now. Seriously, this kid, anything Star Wars, if it is Star Wars, he automatically adores it. The latest Star Wars movie, he loves it. The prequels, loves them. Even Jar Jar, he absolutely adores Jar Jar. Lightsaber fights, Sith Lords, Jedi, bounty hunters, rebels, Clone Wars, you name it, he loves it. Him and I have always had something of a special bond. He's been my Star Wars buddy. And when Episode 7 came out, it sort of came full circle, because Episode 3, he was gone for, not long after he was born. I didn't see him for a long time. And Episode 7, I was able to take him to see Star Wars again. Besides the family connections, another reason I love Star Wars so much is because when I was little, I used to be painfully shy. I am the kind of kid who would hide behind my parents if I had to meet somebody. I would even hide behind them from people that I knew fairly well. People thought I was weird because me and my sister were the only ones in church who were homeschooled. Some people would say, oh, that's why she's shy. No, ever since I was a toddler, I was shy. It started before I even started. Yeah, I didn't even want to be around other kids unless my mom or older sister was there. It was pretty bad. Liking Star Wars didn't make things any easier. I was always teased as a small kid. I remember being 7 or 8 years old, the only girl in Sunday school who loved Star Wars. So as a result, none of the other girls really wanted to be friends with me because all I wanted to talk about was Star Wars. And all of the guys, even though they were sort of impressed with my knowledge, they thought I was weird and would tease me sometimes by humming either the Imperial March or the Star Wars main theme whenever I walked by, like they thought it was funny. With me, it was just sort of a torment seeing that nobody, not even the other guys, liked Star Wars as much as I did. And I felt like an outcast growing up. It wasn't until I turned 18 and started going to college that I connected on a Star Wars forum with fellow fans and fellow female fans, gasp, who actually dressed up in costumes and did all these charity events and movie openings. And I'm like, wow, I want to do that. And that's how I got started in costuming, and also made my very first Star Wars related friends. All of them are back in Southern California, and I miss them horribly. But thankfully, I'm starting to connect with some of the local Star Wars fans, and I'm finding they're everywhere, and I just need to know where to look. If it wasn't for Star Wars, I probably never would have started a vlog. I never would have gone to a convention all the way in LA all by myself. But going to that convention in Los Angeles, sitting in the auditorium at the LA Convention Center, surrounded by 30,000 other fellow fans who were just as hardcore as I was, either in costume, not in costume, just wearing Star Wars t-shirts, cheering wildly as their favorite actors walked on the stage, seeing a little video from George Lucas, hearing about the upcoming projects, including at that point the Clone Wars. I never felt more normal in my life. In fact, the only time I feel like I really the only time I feel like I can be completely myself is when I'm with my fellow Star Wars fans. Sometimes even just talking to you guys. For a while, when I started college, I felt like I had to hide my Star Wars fandom, but since it's opened so many doors for me, I've embraced it. Me being a Star Wars fan is part of who I am, and I'm loving it. It's something I don't think I'll ever give up. I apologize for how unarticulate this is, but this was thrown together at the last minute. It's already after 5 o'clock. I need to get this thing edited and uploaded. Look for some more Clone Wars reactions to Season 2 coming later tonight. Don't know how much later, but they're coming. But anyway, yeah, that's a little bit of my story as a Star Wars fan and how much I love it and why it's such a big part of my life. So thank you for listening to me ramble on. That's all for today. Thank you so much for watching. If you like this video and you want to see more G-rated Star Wars content, go ahead and click that little subscription button down below. Question of the day. How has Star Wars defined your life? I mean, this is a different question than I asked about what would your life be like without Star Wars, but how has it defined your life? How has it made you who you are today? Like, I don't know. I'm not good at articulating this, but that's basically the question. If you can figure out an answer to it, go ahead and post a comment below. But until next time, this is the Clumsy Jedi signing off, and to everyone in the Star Wars family out there, even if it seems like you're the only one locally who loves Star Wars, don't give up, keep the faith, you're not alone. And this is the Clumsy Jedi signing off. May the Force be with you.